the next hour, we shall be bringing you a match filled with flowing football. A match where this player scored what will go down as one of the most spectacular goals for years in a Wembley final. Where for the first time on television, we have a camera waiting in the winners' dressing room for their return. And apart from the celebrations, there are also remarkable pictures of a treatment to an injury. Also at Wembley yesterday, for the first time, the sight of a lady on the pitch joining in the lap of honour. Who is she? We'll be telling you that as well. So it really is a busy hour coming up. But as we go back to the stadium, it's 10 minutes before the kick-off. 100,000 pairs of eyes are now on that famous Wembley tunnel. Let's take you inside.
Manchester City line with Mike Doyle, their captain. Joe Corrigan and Willie Donaghy is there. Dave Clementson, Joe Royal and Alan Oakes. Tommy Booth and Peter Barnes. Ian McFarlane, the coach, is there. Confident player, Asa Hartford. Dennis Tueart, who Newcastle feel could be a match winner. There's Mickey Burns of Newcastle coming back this way. We come to Glenn Keeley, the big number 5. He'll have a big job today against Joe Royal. Tommy Cassidy there, heading the ball. Malcolm McDonald, so important for Newcastle that he should have been fit. Alan Gowling, over 20 goals this season. In fact, 23 in all competitions for him. Tommy Craig, right in the middle of the picture there, who went down with flu on Thursday. And to a great relief from the northeast, is fit. Gordon Lee, the manager, who knew the other side of managerial business with the limited resources at places like Port Vale and Blackburn, has really hit it big here now with Newcastle United. And here they come, and now the 100,000 crowd outside at Wembley for this League Cup final. Do see them. Here come Manchester City on the right, Newcastle United on the left. Certainly both sides looking very, very relaxed there. Jack Taylor, the referee from Wolverhampton. I say it's the first time I've seen a coach in a team lineup as Ian McFarlane is on the field this afternoon with the hat on. Certainly he's done a tremendous job of work for Manchester City, but it is unusual to say the least to find the assistant manager and coach in the team lineup.
Now, of course, we come to the moment both teams really have been waiting for, to do the job they know best of all, and the chance to flex their muscles on the Wembley turf, a chance for us to catch up on the team lineup for the game. And first, Manchester City. They field an unchanged side, with Gerard Keegan having only his second game in a number 2 shirt. The only other decision for manager Tony Book was to name Kenny Clements as the substitute. As for Newcastle United, what problems they've had all week with flu. 6 of this team could only report to the Cup headquarters on Friday, and players like goalkeeper Mick Mahoney spent 4 days last week in bed with a high temperature. But even if they are not all fully fit, and even if their preparations have been ruined, it's the expected Newcastle side with Paul Cannell the sub. The crowd now waits for the whistle from referee Jack Taylor of Wolverhampton.
Malcolm McDonald there, making it quite clear the sort of effort that he wants from Newcastle this afternoon, in spite of all their aches and pains and the problems they've had all week. It's going to be Newcastle in the striped shirts who are going to kick off this 1976 League Cup final, with Manchester City facing them in shirts of light blue and white shorts. And away go Newcastle. Here's Tommy Craig getting the ball straight back for an early touch to Mike Mahoney, who's had 4 days in bed this week with a temperature of 103. And a more languid start could hardly be imagined. Whether Newcastle will want to keep the pace down the whole way, or whether, as some believe, they will want to go all out for an early goal or two as an insurance against later in the game when maybe their legs will begin to betray them with all the troubles they've had with this flu. That we must wait and see. Corrigan turning the ball away into touch. So a throw to Newcastle United. Malcolm MacDonald's going to take it. Glenn Keely has come up from behind, trying to put a bit of pressure on this Manchester City defence. A backward header there, and finally it'll come out now for Manchester City to break away, although Cassidy got in a shot. And again, Joe Corrigan coming right outside his penalty area to put the ball into touch. Another throw for Newcastle United. Burns leaving it again for Malcolm MacDonald. Again, it's going to be a long throw. Gowling and Keely are in there. So too is Barraclough. Keely's header, no, he didn't quite get a touch to it. Here's MacDonald now with a chance to get it in once more, which he succeeded in doing, and Hartford getting it away to Tueart. Now with Doyle, free kick. Quickly taken, too quickly in fact, because Manchester City hadn't really allowed themselves to get into any sort of position. Cassidy, Keely, Donachie. Peter Barnes making a run down the left, and a beautifully timed run as well it is by Barnes. Timed that to perfection, with the ball coming in there. Oakes having a shot, and it cannoned off Tueart. That could have been dangerous for Newcastle. And Kennedy getting it away, but not far. Crossed in again by Keegan, and Mike Mahoney there, gathering safely for Newcastle. MacDonald. Free kick brought down by Gerard Keegan. Only his second game in a number 2 shirt. In fact, it was his goal in the semi-final at Main Road against Middlesbrough that got Manchester City on the way to this final. But now a free kick to Newcastle. It'll be Tommy Craig. Just slipping it forward with that sweet left foot of his towards Alan Gowling. There's Corrigan there. Joe Royle being watched by Pat Howard. Ball played back there by Ian McFarlane. It's going to be a throw, though, to Manchester City. He hit Hartford on the back. That was a bit of bad luck for him, but here's MacDonald. Oh, what a bit of play here by MacDonald, and a good shot! Oh, and it needed a good save. Well, MacDonald might well blow at that one, because that was a beautiful piece of play by him, snaking his way past those defenders, unleashing quite a shot, which Corrigan had to turn away. So Newcastle, in spite of their troubles, have carried the game in this opening 6 or 7 minutes to Manchester City. Tommy Craig with the corner for him. Delicate little corner coming in there towards Glenn Keely. Donald trying to make something of it, but couldn't. And a free kick given to Manchester City. Newcastle recognise this fellow, Dennis Tueart, as the danger man. Could well be. Joe Royle. At the moment, Manchester City can't really put very much together. Tony Book with his head in his hands there. And these are worrying moments for him, because they just really aren't on their song at all at the moment. Here's Doyle. nothing yet really to worry Corrigan. Certainly there's nothing that City have done really that has worried Newcastle very much. Keeley with a header. Donaghy. Hartford. Cassidy though for Newcastle. Stuart Barraclough. Here's Craig. Oh, what a beautiful ball there now. And Cassidy can turn it in here towards McDonald, and he couldn't quite get the shot. And Corrigan prevented the ball from going over for a corner. Good decision by the referee. But some good play again by Newcastle. Slowing it down and then suddenly coming in with these little killer moves. Keeley pushing at Royal. Free kick to Manchester City. Tommy Booth right up there. Watson right up there. You would get the impression they're going to float one deep to the other side of that penalty area. Might be a con-trick. Hartford with it though, yes. They're playing it across there towards Mike Doyle, who got the header in. Might come anywhere. Yes, it's there by Peter Barnes. The 19-year-old has put Manchester City into the lead. Peter Barnes, the man who scored it, whose father's been here before with Manchester City into a final. The long free kick taken by Asa Hartford. Mike Doyle winning it very well in the air at the far side. Newcastle with a lot of players back, unable to do anything about it. And look how it comes there for Peter Barnes to hook it in before Mahoney can get there. So Manchester City 1, Newcastle United 0. Peter Barnes, the scorer for Manchester City. Now that's a tremendous blow for Newcastle. The very last thing they wanted with their flu problems all week. Psychologically now it's going to be very hard for them to lift themselves with the lack of preparation they've been able to get into the past 7 days. And here's Peter Barnes again. A beautifully timed run there again by him. Turned inside, two are waiting for it, and it'll come for Booth, and it's just gone skating past for a goal kick. Well, the lack of running, really, maybe the lack of strength in that Newcastle side as Barnes made that good, long, challenging run, and the ball comes there to Tommy Booth, deflected. In fact, I think that should have been a corner. Well, the banners of Manchester City proclaiming that their side is in the lead. Alan Gowling underneath this one, winning it well in the air there. Oh, this might come for Gowling. It might come for McDonald. There's an offside flag up. Well offside, good decision. But also, let it be said, a good piece of goalkeeping by Joe Corrigan, because he wasn't to know the flag was up and the whistle had gone. Actually, Gowling won that so well. Bit of a mistake there by Donaghy, and you can see how far offside McDonald was, but also what a good save it was by Corrigan. Donaghy. Hartford, whose free kick led to that first goal. Cut out nicely by Craig. Oh, and he's given it away to Barnes. And they've given it away again to Hartford. That time it was Natras. This will come for Peter Barnes again. It'll come for Barnes again. It'll come for Royal, perhaps. It might come yet for Barnes. It could still come for him, and it's behind. Goal kick. Well, a remarkable series of near misses there, and half chances, falling first to Barnes. It seemed really to be on there for a moment for Royal. Looked to hit Royal on the hand, but it looked as though it came again for Barnes, and behind it went. Kennedy saying, come here, to Mickey Burns, and Burns is saying, no, play it somewhere else, but he plays it to Burns. There wasn't much room for him. Oakes. Hartford letting it go through to Donaghy. Cross towards Joe Royle, Tueart's behind him, here's Booth. Played there for Alan Oakes, left foot, drilling it through there, but wide. Alan Oakes loves them on that left foot of his. He scored a scorcher in the semi-final. And as this came out to him, a nice little touch here by Tommy Booth there. Lovely onto the left foot of Oakes, drilling it low, but also drilling it wide. Barraclough being harassed by Oakes. Oh, he did well there. Now it's with Howard. Watson jumping and winning well. Craig following in quickly. Tommy Craig going through. Nothing given though. Newcastle hoped for a penalty there, at least their fans did. It didn't even cross Jack Taylor's mind. Hartford now for Manchester City. Kennedy. Newcastle coming back into it again a bit now. Craig. Cassidy. Played now for McDonald, onto the right foot. Gowling is there! Well, Gordon Lee is on his feet, punching the sky as well he might. Gowling has scored the equaliser when it seemed that Newcastle were beginning to sag. Made for him with a cross by Malcolm McDonald. Tommy Craig again spraying the ball out. Cassidy, who's having a lot to say for himself, onto the right foot of Malcolm McDonald, and there's Gowling just knocking it in. 1-1. The 24th goal that Alan Gowling has scored this season, and none of them, I imagine, would have brought him greater pleasure. So, it's Tueart now. And a game that seems slowly but surely to be going Manchester City's way is slap bang in the open again with 10 minutes to go to half-time. And what a psychological lift that's going to be for Newcastle. And just listen to those Newcastle fans. Gordon Lee in the centre there. That'll bring him a lot of pleasure to think that his side, and he was saying all this week, in spite of all our troubles, we've got a lot of character left. Donaghy to Barnes. Natris, as they say, showing that he was about. And a free kick goal. Donaghy's going to take it. Towards Joe Royle. Oh, it'll come for Tueart. Oh, and how did Mahoney save that? Well, that was quite remarkable. The ball floating right in there. The ball floating right in there. It seemed to come for Tueart. As the corner comes in, it's nodded over. Gowling. There's McDonald feeding off each other again. McDonald putting it onto that left foot. Good piece of play by Corrigan, although he lost it. But he certainly put McDonald off. MacDonald really coming out, going through fiercely, and Corrigan coming out just as fiercely. Royal, Oakes. That's into the path of Donachie, curling in beautifully like that, and hit it first time towards Tueart. Beautiful move by Manchester City. A really incisive two-pass move, as Donachie turned it in first time after that lovely pass, and Tueart there couldn't quite get above it. Craig, Cassidy, Sparrowclough, Gowling. Well, he's giving Watson a problem or two, and now has gone down. Not sure whether that was a challenge by Watson or the challenge by Donachie, but Gowling is hurt. Must be the challenge by Donachie, because I think referee Jack Taylor wants to have a word with him. The physio on, so I don't think it could be that serious. This was the moment as he turns Watson, and Donachie now will come into the picture. There he is. Yes, I don't think that was anything deliberate by Donachie, but nonetheless painful for Gowling. He's all right again. There's the cross coming in. Well, that could easily have come off Keeley, but it came through so quickly to Keeley, I don't suppose he realised it was there until it was too late. Played just over a minute of injury time at the end of this first half, but now the whistle's gone for half-time, and what a beautifully poised cup final this is. With the sides level at 1-1, the first goal having been scored for Manchester City there by Peter Barnes, the number 7, and Alan Gowling having scored the equaliser then for Newcastle United. It really is a question now just how much the flu problems of the last week have weakened Newcastle United, because now we really, in this second half, will come to the crunch time in this Football League Cup final of 1976. But we leave you for a short break with a half-time score at Wembley. It says Manchester City 1, Newcastle United 1. So welcome back to this League Cup final. Manchester City now kicking off, attacking the goal to our left. 1-1 the score. And this is a cup final at Wembley where extra time is not played if the score's level. Here's Tueart though. Oh, and it very nearly put Manchester City back into the lead. Tremendous run there, and a certain slackness again in that Newcastle defence that we've seen once or twice in this cup final, but they've looked a little bit vulnerable against pace. The ball running nicely for Tueart there. Could so easily have gone in. Goal kick. Now MacDonald. Royal, Oakes. Donachie. Got Barnes outside him. Donachie prepared, though, to float it in towards Tommy Booth. Oh, and what a goal by Tueart! What a goal! Mahoney couldn't have seen it. A most acrobatic overhead kick. Joe Corrigan can only look in wonder himself at the other end. Tueart, a really spectacular goal. Donachie's floated cross, Booth heading it back, and look at that for sheer acrobatics. 2-1 to Manchester City. Dennis Tueart, the scorer of a truly amazing goal, his 20th of the season. So now the battle is on again for Newcastle. Doyle getting it away. Here's Craig. Kennedy. Burns. Keegan. Oakes. Keegan again. And now this man Tueart. Dennis Tueart, who says he's got a 100% record in cup finals at Wembley. He's only been here once, and that was with Sunderland. Happy fans now at the Manchester City end. And now Oakes leading the charge from the other end. Oh, deliberately tripped. It's got to be a booking there for Cassidy. Deliberately tripped. And Cassidy, the Irishman of Newcastle United, he's got to go back to take that reckoning from Jack Taylor. Quite a deliberate trip there. As Oakes takes it away now. There's the trip that brought a booking. Hartford. Played for Barnes. Kept it in, but only just. Royals there with a header. What a good save by Mahoney. The linesman was flagging on the far side, though. Now, what was the decision, I wonder? Certainly the ball was still in play there as Peter Barnes got it over. Good jump on the far side there by Royal. And a very good save by Mahoney, and I couldn't see what the infringement was. It's Hartford, but Keeley beat him to it. I think Glenn Keeley was very happy with that challenge. And neither was Jack Taylor with that reaction of Glenn Keeley's. Royal, and Keeley back. I think if you can lip read, I think that was Malcolm MacDonald not wanting it in the air as he got it then and was beaten by Doe, but wanted Mike Mahoney to spread the ball out a bit to either wing. Barnes going through, brought down, but it might come for Royal. There's Royal, a little chip. No goal. Referee says no. Joe Royal can't believe it. And that would have been a beauty too. A really perfectly floated kick there. Royal spotting that Mahoney was off his line. But disallowed. Cassidy. And Abu. Donaghy. Well, this might open up now for Alan Oakes. Tueart telling him to play it wide here for Peter Barnes. Well, Tueart's got the chance to do that himself. Taking him on. Bit of pace there by Tueart. Nice little cross by him too. And the header by Booth, which really wasn't a genuine forward's header, which, of course, Tommy Booth is not a genuine forward. Lovely piece of acceleration here again by Tueart, beating Pat Howard for pace. Delicate little cross. In fact, Booth really might have made more of it. Keeley, strength there, getting him through to that pass for Gowling, but here's Hartford. Now Barnes versus Nattrass. Well, he should have the legs of Nattrass. He's had all sorts of problems this week with injury and flu. But Cassidy coming away with it. And now Hartford taking it back again. Here's Nattrass again, still got that left knee pretty heavily plastered. Craig. The long ball towards MacDonald, but he's outnumbered. Craig. And now McDonald. Kennedy, Craig. Nice little touch again. Really delicate piece of play there by Craig. Here's Cassidy. Now Natchez. Gowling. Keeping possession well here, but City have got everybody back. They're not making much progress. Howard. Hit towards MacDonald. Keegan is there with him. Put it into overdrive there for a moment. Mickey Burns, a turn! Oh my goodness, it's wide. Well, that was made for him by MacDonald, and the quick thinking of Mickey Burns. MacDonald just using a little bit of extra pace here to get it past Keegan. And a lovely turn coming up now by Burns there. And alas for him, just wide. Burns. Okay, rather thump in the back there for MacDonald. Just about a quarter of an hour to go. And people said that this is when the weakening week that they've had would really take effect on Newcastle. And they've somehow got to find a goal, and they very nearly came and found it there with Mickey Burns' header. That one was flicked in. First one header, then Burns, and a save by Corrigan. Build it up patiently all the time. Here's Natchez. Cassidy. Craig really didn't have a chance there. Here's Barnes. Free kick, had to be. A lot of people felt Peter Barnes might be overawed by the Wembley occasion, but he soon silenced that with that goal early on. Watson playing it for Keegan. Joe Royle trying to get the better of Keeley. He got that cross in well, and then Natchez did well too. Here's Burns for Newcastle. Barnes coming back to help defend. Natchez. Keeley. Forward again there. Gowling's there. These are the dangerous moments, or could be, and it's a free kick for Newcastle. Oh, Watson with a nasty gash over his left eye, or alongside his left eye. And blood all over that Manchester City shirt. Well, it's a free kick. It's just right of centre. It's about 22 yards away. Sort of place where MacDonald might try and blast something to good effect. Cassidy's there and Howard's there as well. Played there instead for Tommy Craig. Too high, goal kick. Oh, well, lift yourself up, he's saying. 9 minutes to go. 9 minutes without the score. Manchester City 2 with Barnes and Tueart the scorer. Newcastle 1 with Gowling their scorer. Joe Royle. Now, stopped by Keeley, and I don't think Keeley quite knows how he did it now. Kennedy. MacDonald. Got Cassidy away on the left for him. Cross going in. Watson got the header in. Barraclough's right there, but it'll be a throw to Newcastle. 6 minutes to go. MacDonald will take a long throw. Newcastle have piled nearly everybody forward for this. Only Alan Kennedy and Irving Natchez have stayed back. Gowling tried to get there with a header, but in fact Watson was there before him. Natras again. Gowling. Hit well, good save. Gowling brilliant with those sort of turns. Done it once or twice this season. Hit it first time, and Corrigan reacted beautifully. So a corner then to Newcastle. Mickey Burns is going to take it. A deeper one. Keeley coming in on the far side, and Corrigan hurt as he took it. But it looked a perfectly fair challenge there by Keeley. Corrigan looks as though he's quite badly hurt there on his back. And Jack Taylor, I think, is saying, look, he's got to get up, and we've got to get on. And he showed them his watch. Here's the incident again. Keeley coming up in from behind. Maybe his knees were a little high, and that's what knocked Corrigan down. Manchester City fans beginning to whistle away, but there's still 4 minutes to go. And Hartford now on his way again. A little bit of a rough and tumble there, and the press photographers came off second best, and nice to see Kennedy making sure that Hartford was all right. It's a corner for City, though. Been some tough old tackling in this game, but I think it's also fair to say it's been played in a very good sporting spirit and well refereed. Booth with the header! Beautiful save again by Mahoney. The marking really was not very good there in that Newcastle defence as Tueart took this corner. Look at the space there for Booth to get up. Very good save indeed by Mahoney, though. It's with Barnes. Now Tueart. Played in again as Royal went diving in. Goal kick now for Newcastle. About 2.5 minutes left. And some agitated signals on that Manchester City bench now. They know it's almost there for them. Gowling. Cassidy. Gowling. Can Newcastle save it yet in the last seconds? It's onto the left foot of Malcolm McDonald, and away he goes. And Mike Doyle was there doing a brilliant piece of work for Manchester City when that really could have been dangerous for his team. So a corner. I doubt if there'll be much more than a few seconds left. Perhaps not even time for them to take it. No, the whistle has gone, I think. No, it hasn't. But now it has. Joe Corrigan falls to the ground. Peter Barnes, the man who scored the first goal, hugs on the bench. And Joe Corrigan, who's had such a checkered career. There's one player down in it there, the number 4, Mike Doyle. Mike Doyle, the skipper, who has played tremendously, picking himself up at last with Paul Power, one of the substitutes there. Tommy Craig, the two skippers embrace. Mike Doyle going across to the City fans. And they really fought hard for so long. Corrigan and McDonald there. That his team had given him all they possibly could. Really wasn't quite enough. Colin Bell there, I noticed, in the centre. That's the face of defeat. And they really are just about out on their feet. McDonald, that's twice in 2 years he's been to Wembley, and twice he's been on the losing side, and that's just about how it's hit him. Malcolm McDonald, one of the biggest names in the game, feeling at this moment a very lonely man indeed. Well, he's a fairly extrovert sort of guy, Malcolm McDonald, but he's being told now that it's time to go up and get a loser's medal, because in the League Cup final, it's the losers who come up first. Tommy Craig getting his medal there from the Duke of Norfolk. Now the time for the winners to come forward, led by their skipper Mike Doyle, who had, as usual, one of his great reliable games, particularly in the very last seconds of the game when he cut out that attack of Malcolm MacDonald's. Mike Doyle receiving the cup from the Earl Marshal, His Grace the Duke of Norfolk. Peter Swale smiling there, the Manchester City chairman. And Manchester City have won it. Happiest moment of any footballer's career, and a sign that means that Manchester City go into Europe in the UEFA Cup again next season. Joe Corrigan, Dave Watson, blood right across that jersey of his, Alan Oakes and Joe Royle, Gerard Keegan, who certainly didn't let them down in that number 2 shirt, Willie Donaghy there too, Asa Harper, tremendous game in the middle of the field, Peter Barnes, scorer of the first goal, 19 years old, Tommy Booth, who laid on the second one, and right at the back of the Newcastle shirt I noticed was Dennis Tueart, the man who scored the second and spectacular goal. Having already swapped his shirt with Alan Kennedy.
And now as City get down towards that tunnel, joining the lap of honour, in fact, is a lady. I can tell you, though, that her name is Big Ellen Turner. She's a flower seller outside a hospital in Manchester. She claims to be their #1 fan. There we are. Congratulations, Manchester City, 1976 League Cup winners. So down the tunnel come those victorious Manchester City players, their lap of honour over. And when they get to the dressing room, they'll find our cameras there, and injured teammate Colin Bell is there to serve the champagne.
The captain's part, get that down your neck. First one. Get it down, son. Absolutely magic, darling. You're a foot wrong, son. Don't go near him, he's got the flu. Get some support.
Remember you telling me on Thursday you're a man who doesn't smile very much.
I'm smiling a bit tonight, Brian. Tremendously pleased for the lads. Got to, been out there and give me their lot, and that's all I can ask for.
What pleased you most about it?
Well, I felt it was a great cup tie, and this is what I spoke to you about in the week. I said if both teams go out and play to their capabilities, which they did, I felt that 100,000 fans would go away from here happy, and I'm sure they have done.
Were you a bit apprehensive when Newcastle equalised?
No, not at all, because I felt we were making chances. In the first half we'd had 3 or 4 chances. We stuck one away. No, I had no problems at all.
Do you think the flu problem showed itself in any way in their play?
No, I wouldn't think so at all. I think, he put his team out there, and I feel they were all fit. All right, they might have suffered for it, but it didn't look like it at all.
Mind you, even you couldn't have planned the winning goal the way it came, I suppose.
Oh, it was tremendous. That's Dennis Tueart at his best. That's the way he's capable of winning games for you.
Here's the fellow who scored it anyhow.
I thought you'd never ask me, Brian.
What about the goal, Dennis?
Well, it's a movie work, actually, with Big Tom.
What about the two in the first half?
Be quiet. Actually, with Big Tom...
The two he missed in the first half,
Do you want me to answer this question? Do you want me to go away? No, as I say, Big Tom being so terrific at the far post. we've been breaking down the left quite well with Alan Oakes and Willie Donaghy. And if Tommy can get in there, well, I drop off and go into the goal mouth. And it worked tremendous, knocked it down, and I was very embarrassed about the goal, actually. But as I say...
It brought you as much pleasure as any you've ever scored, I should think, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, please, you know, I was here with Sunderland, we won. I've been here with City, we won. There's only one more left for me. I think you know it.
Is that when England wins something?
Yeah, I hope so, yeah.
This is a stitch over the left eye of Dave Watson. Dave, how did it happen?
It was the back of Alan Gallen's head, actually. I got a knock on early in the first half and bruised it, and then I got another one in the second half, and it just opened it up.
How many stitches are you going to put in, Doc?
Just one.
Just one?
Yeah.
Painful, David?
No, not really. I've had some local.
Anaesthetic?
Yes.
Not the way we do it.
Nothing can stop the joy of winning a cup winners' medal again.
That's
Okay,
it.
would you cut that, Fred?
With Sunderland now with City.
That's right. Tremendous.
That's it.
Sit up now, Dave, have a word. Come on, son.
Good, well done, David.
You got him? Wembley as well.
Wembley's a good place for you, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Well done.
Thank you.
You're going to sit down on his toy. He wants to talk to you.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never lost here yet, so that's a nice home win, you know.
Thursday, David.
Yeah, I couldn't walk Thursday hardly.
No, you couldn't walk?
No, I've got a bad back, you know.
Yeah.
A miracle treatment from the physiotherapist and the doc, and a bit of advice from my wife, and
What advice from your wife did you get?
keep taking the tablets.
Was there a serious start whether you play or not?
Yeah, couldn't walk on Thursday.
No.
Done tremendously well. Tremendously well. Yeah, tremendously well.
So I'm quite pleased.
Real pro.
So a tribute to the Manchester City physiotherapist Freddie Griffiths. But next, Dennis Tueart sportingly took the cup and champagne into the Newcastle dressing room.
Deserve it, lads. Thank you. Great.
Hi, Malcolm. Must have been a shattering afternoon again for you, and you looked absolutely whacked out in the end.
Yeah.
Wembley finals aren't really your heavy hunting ground, are they?
No, they're not. But I think there were 2 or 3 of us in the second half where our legs just weren't carrying us, and we weren't doing the rest of the lads justice. And by that, we were giving Manchester City a bit of a few spaces here and there. And but all in all, I thought that. To say the least, we did our supporters credit, you know, we did ourselves credit.
There was a hell of a lot of guts about the side today.
Yeah, there was a lot of determination and guts, as you say, and we came here to win and missed out by 1 goal.
I thought the skipper looked as though he kept running and running and running. Tommy Craig.
Thanks, Brian. Thank you.
In fact, you were one of the last to go down with the flu, Tom, I think, weren't you, on Thursday?
I think it was more a heavy cold, Brian, than the flu, which is lucky for me.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it tremendously, really, because I think on the day Manchester City just deserved to win. Yeah. So really, we've got no excuses at all.
How much below your best do you think you were as a side with the result of all this flu and so on?
Well, really, Brian, I don't like to say too much about the flu because, again, people could take it that we're making excuses. As I say, I think Manchester City, on the day, just deserved to win. First half was very evenly balanced. Second half, obviously, we're tired because of the flu, but Manchester City deserved it, didn't they?
Mm. They say once you've been there, you want to come back again.
We'll be back. I enjoyed it so much, I've got to come back.
Good. Alan, what about your goal?
Well, it's one dream anyway. We didn't win, but when I think of this time last year, sort of facing 4th Division football, it's a dream to score at Wembley, and it was a good goal, actually. Mal did great, and I just managed to get a touch.
He got it across as well.
Yeah, well, it's improving. And, and I just managed to get the touch in front of, I think it was Dave Watson, who slid in, but it just went under Corrigan. So, you know, delighted with the goal, but disappointed. I think I'd, you know, honestly, given the goal up if we could have won.
Yeah, exactly. Malcolm, just coming back to you for a moment, I noticed right at the end of the game you were right on your haunches for quite a while there with your head in your hands. Was that out of sheer disappointment or sheer exhaustion?
To be honest, Brian, I had a few tears because...
I think a lot of people find that hard to believe from Supermax.
Well, I did. It's a terrible thing to come to 2 cup finals and to lose with fans like we've got because, well, Dennis Tueart's just been in, and he himself said that we have got the best fans in the country, and I think that for supporters to back us the way they do, even in defeat, you know, you've got to have a few tears and say, you know, I wish I'd done it for them. And unfortunately we didn't, but so we're going to keep trying for them. It's the least we can do.
Yeah. So an afternoon filled with every emotion. And we want to leave you on an upswing, of course. And one of the winners yesterday was the referee, Jack Taylor. A wonderful match. But the biggest winners of all were Manchester City. And the man who fashioned one of Wembley's greatest goals, Dennis Tueart.
Donachie. Got Barnes outside him. Donachie prepared, though, to float it in towards Tommy Booth.